So you're going to look at houses. You shook your realtor's hand, you're walking up to the door, and you're wondering, what in the crud am I looking for? Today, I'm going to go over my list. As a realtor for 5 years, what are the biggest things that I'm focused on? And no, they're not about the feel or the comfortability of a house. The biggest things I focus on are the large cost items. Those are going to be your roof, those are going to be your plumbing, electrical, your HVAC, which is your AC and your furnace, and then lastly, your water heater. And I just want to quickly go over these items and how I look at them and why they're important to look at. There's a million billion other things to look at. Comment down below if you want me to talk about the second layer of these that you want that I look at too when I look at homes. But this is just to give those first time or new home buyers or just anybody in general some things that I believe they should always be looking at. My name is Paden, Clancy Fairbanks with Mountain Buff Real Estate. Let's talk about it. So you're walking up to the door, first things first, look at the roof. If it looks like it's a terrible condition roof, it probably is. On a 1,600 square foot house, it typically costs like $10,000 to replace it. So this is one of your largest ticket items, and it very well could be $20,000 or $25,000 to replace it if there's 2 or 3 levels of shingles on it. The goal of this video is not for me to say you should or shouldn't buy a house. It is just if you do submit an offer on this house, have an expectation to do more research on the roof. If you're wanting a super easy indicator of the condition of a roof, look for fiberglass. If you see fiberglass like this sticking out, or you look at it and it looks like there's some kind of a shining coming off of it from the sun, quite possibly there's fiberglass showing, and you at most have 5 years left on that. Talk to a roofer. I'm a dumb real estate agent, so don't take my advice. But if you see in fiberglass, ask more questions. And if you're concerned about the condition of the roof, ask your inspector about it during due diligence. Number two, you're focused on electrical. Electrical is one of your largest costs if it hasn't been updated in the last 40 years, let's say. If it was built in the 1950s and never been updated, you could quite possibly be dealing with replacing fuse boxes, having some form of aluminum wiring in the house, and plenty of safety concerns that you should have. So if you're walking around the house and you see something like this or like this, ask your real estate agent, possibly talk to an electrician, but these are definitely things you should be looking for during due diligence and understand the costs and the safety concerns of replacing it. You shouldn't be scared of anything, but you should do your best to understand everything. Number three is plumbing. As much as everybody acts like it's fire that destroys houses, it's typically water. So you're looking for a couple of basic things. One, if you're seeing stuff like this under the sink, accordion style plumbing that isn't meant for permanent solutions being used, just ask the question, has this home been worked on and updated properly by certified contractors? Two, try to understand the age of your plumbing. This is a picture of my wall. We had to tear it out because the sink upstairs was leaking because it was too much hot water going against cold piping on the exterior wall, caused it to crack. This was probably 40 years old or so, and so it was reaching the end of its lifespan in some scenarios. So understand the age of it, understand how much longer it has in it, and understand the cost of replacing that plumbing if you start running into problems. Three, you could be running into cast iron or galvanized plumbing. If you're seeing something like this, yes, their lifespans are typically the longest of any plumbing out there. But also, if you're seeing something like this, probably it's been in there for more than 80 years or 70 years. And replacing this is a huge bummer. It is really heavy, it is really expensive, and it could just be time consuming as well. So be aware of those three things. Understand how well the house looks for the updates they've been doing, if it looks like certified contractors have been doing them. Understand the age of your plumbing and how much age it has left during the due diligence period. And then three, if you're seeing stuff like this, you just need to be asking more questions in general. So you've gathered the roof, plumbing, electrical. The next thing I always look at is your furnace and your AC unit. Furnaces and AC units typically last anywhere from like 12 to 20 years, but a good general rule of thumb is 15 years. You don't necessarily need to, when you're walking around every house, decide what the age of it is, although you could check the back of it, see its serial code, and figure that out pretty quickly. But you're going to see something like this that looks like maybe it's a newer unit, I'm more comfortable with it, I'm for sure going to ask about the age of it once we go under contract, or you could see something like this. Obviously old, obviously needs to be replaced, quite possibly doesn't have that much longer left in it. The purpose of looking at these items is not to decide if you do or don't want to buy the house, but to give you a general idea of the large ticket items that are going to cost you money, because furnaces and ACs are going to be anywhere from $3,000 to $8,000 to replace. and I would consider that a large ticket item. The last thing I look at in every single house is the water heater. They typically last 8 to 12 years. They're between $1,750 and $2,500 to replace. More than that if you're doing a tankless water heater. And so it's not the most expensive thing to replace, but it's a really easy thing to look at, get the dates on, and understand if it's getting at the end of its lifespan or not. So there you go. Those are the 5 things that I focus on every single house that I do a tour of: roofing, electrical, HVAC, furnace or AC, and water heaters. These are absolutely not everything you should be looking for in a house. You need to be focusing on if it functionally works well for you and all the other updates that might need to happen: windows, updated kitchen, so on and such forth. These are just the things that I focus on in every home that I go through, and I feel like give you a good approximation of the cost that you're going to have in the house in the next 10 years. You need to do more research. You need to not listen to this dumb old real estate agent. You need to hire inspectors that are competent and understand the local code, and hire electricians or plumbers or roofers to understand the cost of replacing those items. Comment down below, what do you look for in a house whenever you're going to gander at it? What are the things that you really focus on? Lastly, I'm a real estate agent in Utah, southwestern Wyoming, southeastern Idaho. If you have any questions of buy or sell houses in those areas, let me know. If you have any questions on buying any house in the United States, I can help you find a real estate agent. Other than that, thanks for watching. Have a great day.